Hi, 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 hi. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You're welcome to another webinar with Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. If you're joining, as you're joining, please go to the comment section, type where you're watching from, and you can also share this video to friends that you know would benefit from this. So, my name is Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. I'm a family psychologist. I work with parents and I work with the adolescents in building a healthy relationship and also having a thriving life. I provide parents with tools and resources in connecting, understanding, and connecting with the adolescents while I work with adolescents and young adults in terms of their mental health. So you're all welcome. And today we have another interesting topic that I'll be discussing, and it's simply emotional mastery for parents. Yes, parents, our teenagers are complaining though. They say we tend to shout a lot, that we're getting upset so much. In fact, there was a particular teenager that told me that each time my mom does shout, I just feel sorry for her. It's as if she's about to faint, as if she's about to collapse. So please, they don't want us to faint, they don't want us to collapse. So part of the things I'll be discussing today, I'll be discussing, I'll be telling us about what emotional mastery is. I'll be talking about the importance of mastering your emotion. I'll be talking about the benefits of mastering your emotion. I'll also talk about the implication of anger, the health implication of anger. Over the week, I did an intervention for a particular client who was battling with serious anger issue. And for you to know the extent in which this person gets angry, the person's health, her health is affected, her heart is affected. In fact, she has so many implications, so many negative implications of anger. So today I'll be discussing all this. I'll be discussing what emotional mastery is. I'll be talking about the impact of emotional mastery in the family. I'll also talk about the implication of getting angry and yelling at your children. And finally, I have a gift. I have something, an offer for everyone that's joined. So as you're joining, please just go to the comment section, tell us where you're watching from, and yeah, I will tell us where you're watching from, and from them, yeah. So let's go. So over a few weeks, we've been seeing lots of videos of teenagers, even adults involved. So these videos have gone viral about teenagers and adults that are in, some I'll call it unhealthy response to emotions. And I'm sure with hindsight, most of these individuals in these videos will feel so ashamed and so sad that this thing is happening to them. And one thing I need us to know is that everything we do as human beings involves our emotion, how we feel about an event, how we feel about a person, or how we feel about a thing actually determines how we'll respond or we'll react to that thing. So, as human beings, I need you to know that we are emotional beings. I call us human beings, emotional beings, because everything we do is linked to how we feel, how we think about an event, and what we think about the event affects how we feel about the event, and also affects how we react or respond. And it's also with products or organizations. How you feel about a product, how you feel about an organization will determine how endeared that organization will be to you. Now, our children too, how we feel about our children, the way our children makes us feel. So if you have a child that is rude, aggressive, badly mannered, and you have another one that is kind, humble, and caring, it's natural that you gravitate towards the one that is kind, humble, and caring. And it's no news. We're just human beings, and that's how we've been wired. So, because we are humans, because we are emotional beings, that doesn't mean we should allow our emotions to master. We should not be mastered by emotion. We should not be ruled by our emotions. As human beings, we need to learn how to master our emotions so that we can teach our children how to master their own emotions. Like I said about the video that went viral a few weeks ago about children hitting themselves, slapping themselves. And I'm very sure the parents of these children will be so ashamed of themselves and so ashamed of their children. They'll be so embarrassed that things like this is happening. But let me tell you the truth, charity begins at home. It's what you've taught your child, is what you've instilled in your child will go out there to do. So as human beings, your emotions are valid. Your emotions are important because your emotions have like feedback to you based on things happening around you. However, it's what you do with these emotions that determines if that emotion is empowering or disempowering. So let me say it again. Our emotions are valid, our emotions are real. However, it's what we do with these emotions that determines if these emotions are empowering or disempowering. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy, for indicating where you're watching from. Joy says she's watching from Abuja. Thank you so much. As you're watching, please, I'd like you to indicate where you're watching from. And also, I'd like you to share this video with your friends, with your neighbor, with anyone that you know that is raising a child, because parents need to actually listen to this. We need to learn how to master our emotions. So, as I was saying, I said our emotions are valid, our emotions are real. However, it's what we do with these emotions that determines if the emotion is empowering or disempowering. So, parents, if you are still here, I can see people are still here, go to the chat box. I'm going to ask a few questions. So, imagine you get into the house, and so from the gate, you can see the door open, and you get into the house and you see maybe your security man or you see someone in the house in your kitchen. That's for the mothers, in the house, in the kitchen, putting his spoon or putting his hand into the soup that you just cooked. Like you just used all your money or your energy to cook that soup. And you can see somebody in the kitchen putting the hand inside the soup, bringing out meat. How would you feel? Let's go to the comment section. Thank you, Adejoke, for joining. Go to the comment section. How would you feel if you see somebody doing that? What emotion will be elicited by that action? Let's go to the comment section and put. For you to know that all emotions are valid, whatever emotion you're going to put, anger, irritated, annoyed, all these emotions are valid. However, it's what you now do with that emotion that determines if that emotion is empowering and disempowering. So, for those of you that said angry, irritated, annoyed, yeah, those emotions are valid. So, imagine because you are angry, you now go pick up a stone and hit the person. That why would you put your hand in my soup that I've spent so much time, so much energy to cook? Why would you put your hand, and just use the stone and hit the person on the head, and the person faints, and from there the person dies? Would you now say that emotion was empowering? Yes or no? No. Great. So our emotions are valid. However, it's what we do with these emotions that determines if these emotions are empowering and disempowering. And today I'll be teaching us how to master our emotions. Now, what is emotional mastery? I've mentioned empowering emotion, disempowering. I've mentioned so many things, but what really is emotional mastery? Emotional mastery simply refers to your ability to understand, manage, and respond to your emotions in a healthy and productive manner. So let me say that again. Emotional mastery is your ability to understand, manage, and respond to your emotions and to the emotions of others in a healthy and productive manner. Now, when we talk about other people's emotions, one of the things you need to know is that you cannot manage other people's emotions. However, you can understand where they're coming from by using empathy, and you can also train yourself to respond appropriately to other people. And that is what emotional mastery is all about. Your ability to understand, your ability to manage, your ability to respond. Now, when we talk about responding to people, I need you to know that there's a difference between responding and reacting. Responding means you've taken your time to think through You've taken your time to think through the consequence of the action. That is when we say you are responding. But when we say you are reacting, you're just acting without thinking. And that is not emotional mastery. Now, when we talk about emotional mastery is a gradual process. It's not something that you go for an emotional intelligence class and yeah, you become an emotional master. No. Emotional mastery is a process, it's a gradual process, and it involves you learning other skills. It involves you learning other skills. I will talk about the different skills we need to learn to master our emotions. Now, when it comes to emotional mastery, it helps you to achieve a better relationship with yourself, your children, your spouse, and with other people around you. It also improves your health and overall wellness. Remember when I started, I said I had to do an intervention for a lady due to the fact that she had anger issues, and the anger issue was affecting her health. I'll talk about the negative effect of anger on our health towards the later part of this training. So another thing you need to know about emotional mastery is that emotional mastery would help you to regain control of your mental and physical states. So emotional mastery is something we all need as parents. If you're a parent and you're watching me, wherever you're watching from, you need emotional mastery. Please, can we share this video, share it to your friends, let them know that we're having an interesting webinar today on emotional mastery. So, emotional mastery is about you understanding, managing, and responding to your emotion in a healthy and productive manner. Emotional mastery also has to do with you understanding and responding to other people's emotion in a productive and healthy manner. When we talk about emotional mastery and your relationship with other people, it has something to do with you controlling the other person's emotion, or controlling it just has to do with you responding to the person appropriately. And as parents, you need to know that parents who have emotional mastery, or parents who have mastered their emotions, they're parents that have a good relationship with their children and with their spouse. And for you to master your emotion, it means that you know that there's a relationship between events, thoughts, emotions, feelings, and behavior. There's a relationship. So when things happen, first thing is you are going to have an impression about the event, or you're going to have an impression about the person, and most times the impression or the thoughts that comes to mind about people has to do with our significant emotional experiences, how you've responded, or similar things that has happened in the past. Those are the things that make you to the way you react or respond to the person. So the moment you become aware of your emotion, you know that you have a choice to either react or respond. And I need you to know that the way you respond or the way you react is either functional or dysfunctional. So as parents, our emotions are valid. Yes, your child has done something to upset you. Very valid. But how do you respond? How do you react to the child? That's where we're going to today. So, what are the impacts? What are the impacts of emotional? Why do we need emotional mastery? What's the importance of emotional mastery? Parents of teenagers need to know that you have to master your emotions, because this is the period that your teenagers or your adolescent, they're going through turbulence. It's a turbulent period in their life, or in the life of the adolescent. A lot of changes are happening, a lot of things are happening, and if you cannot master your emotion, you're going to have your relationship with your teenager will be very, very rocky, and it won't be smooth. And not only that, you will not be able to equip your teenager with the right tools, with the right guidance, and the right stability during this period. So, parents who are raising adolescents or teenagers, please, this training is for you, because you need to learn how to master your emotions. Because if you're not there, if you don't know how to master your emotion, there is no way you have a good relationship with your teenager. Most of the teenagers I speak to, most of the young adults I do therapy for, is most of them would tell most of them say that most of them are falling out of relationship with their parents, and because of that, the parent is not there to guide or influence them. So what is the importance of mastering your emotion? Number one, you'll be able to model the right behavior to your teenager or to your child. Parents who show emotional intelligence, parents who show that they've been able to master their emotions, are good role models to their children. Like we say in parenting, is what you do that your children would do. It's not what you tell them to do or what you say that they will do. It's what you do that they will do. So your ability to master your emotion would make you a better role model for your teenager. Second reason is you are able to influence your teenager positively. A parent that is emotionally aware, a parent that has empathy, will be able to influence the teenager rightly. Emotional mastery is not just for you, but it's for you, your children, in fact, for the family. Another reason we need to master our emotion, and it helps our communication. I've had teenagers say, "Oh, when my mom speaks to me, she's so rude. She's so this, she's so." Or when my dad cannot just talk to me in a peaceful manner. Every time my dad speaks to me, my dad is just shouting at me. My dad is just, so parents who have been able to master their emotions, they are able to communicate effectively with their children, especially their teenagers. Teenagers want to be heard. Teenagers want to be accepted. They want to be affirmed. And if you are not emotionally intelligent, you won't be able to do this for your teenager. And that's why I keep saying that it's important for parents who are raising teenagers to listen to this, because most of the issues parents and teenagers have has to do with managing of our emotion. The teenagers are so I had a session with the teenagers early today, and I told them that, see, you want your parents to be kind to you want your parents to speak to you in a good way, you to show them that, be reciprocate, show them what you want them to do to you, show it to them, be polite. So most of the things I've spoke to them, I would say some of them now, but I spoke to them especially about the way they communicate and the way they behave to their parents. So parents, so if our teenagers are trying to change, let us to change, right? So the importance of emotional mastery has to do with the way you communicate. It improves your communication. It improves your conflict resolution. It equips you with skills to handle conflict calmly and to prefer solution properly. So when there is misunderstanding, when there's tension, these things are normal. There will be tension, there will be misunderstanding in the home. However, it's the way we address these things that matters. So if as parents, the only way you know how to address an issue is by getting angry, guess what? I'll talk about the negative implication of anger later, but it's going to affect your relationship with your teenager. Another reason we need to learn how to master our emotion is that it will help us in creating a supportive environment, a stable home environment for your children. I've spoken about my interaction with teenagers and young adults, and most times they talk about the fact that home is not conducive. I can't go home because mommy and daddy, they're always shouting. They're always getting angry at each other. You know, I heard teenagers, you know, this particular patient I had one time, she said from school, during COVID, she didn't go home. That from school, she rented a house in Abuja and she didn't go back home. I was like, why would you do that? And she said, because I cannot imagine staying home with my parents for that period of COVID. And she said because of that, she had some money. She used to say she does some business. She rented an apartment in Abuja. So you can imagine the implication of that. So because your home is not conducive, your child would prefer to stay outside during COVID than going home. So parents who have been able to master their emotions, they are able to create a stable and secured home environment for their children. And this is one thing that teenagers need. For your teenagers' emotional and psychological well being, they need a stable home environment. So, parents, please, let's master our emotions. Let's learn how to manage, understand, and manage our emotions, please. Now, another reason we need to manage our emotion is that it helps us to manage stress. It helps us to manage challenges. It also helps us to um, it helps us to manage stress, manage and challenges, and also we were able to break that negative cycle. So that cycle of this is how it is done in our house. This is how my grandfather was shouting. This is how my mother was shouting. So this is how if you can learn how to manage your emotion, you're going to break that cycle, that negative pattern in your home, in your lineage. And you know, if you're able to break this pattern, your children too, they would they will learn how to manage their emotion, and it goes to the next generation. You know, one of the things we say in mental health is that mental illnesses, they're actually genetic. They're genetically predisposed. So people are genetically predisposed to mental illness. What does it mean? If a father has depression, there's every likelihood that the child might suffer from depression or anxiety. Now, so imagine a father that has anger issues. There's every likelihood that the child too will develop that. And it's just common sense. Why is the child also picking having anger issue? Because that was what was modeled to the child. So if as parents you know that you come from a lineage of anger, people are always getting angry, your mother is always getting angry, your grandparents were always angry, please can you break the cycle? Let the cycle break with your own generation. Don't take it to the next generation. Let the cycle break with your own generation. Let the cycle break with your own generation. It's very important. So building mastery over anger would also help you to break negative patterns. And finally, it helps in building a positive family dynamic. So I've spoken about the benefits of um mastering your emotion. Now, what is the implication? What is the implication of anger and yelling on the parent? I'm not even talking about on the child, on you, the parent. So, parents, you need to know that frequent and intense anger has a range of negative health implication. A lot. I was talking about someone I was working with that has heart issues and all that. You know, if you're always getting angry, guess what happens to you? Your blood pressure would always keep getting high. Anger causes temporary spike in blood pressure, and this may affect your heart. This may give you heart attack. And if you have persistent anger, or you're at the risk of stroke. So parents, please, let's reduce the yelling, let's reduce the anger, please. Another negative implication of yelling or getting angry on parents is that it reduces your immunity. It makes your immune system weak because One minute your blood pressure is high, the next minute your blood pressure is low, the next minute you're having respiratory issue because you're shouting. So as parents, please, let's reduce this. Let's reduce our anger. Also, it causes digestive problems. It affects your tummy, it leads to irritable bowel syndrome, ulcers, gastritis. So many negative things happen to our body when we get angry. Another thing is our respiratory problem. People that get angry, they tend to hyperventilate, which reduces the your ability to breathe well. So please, there's so many negative things attached to anger. What about the mental health implication? Parents who tend to shout, yell, get angry, they tend to have increased stress level. They tend to have anxiety and depression. Uncontrolled anger can contribute to development of anxiety because any small thing, you're shouting, you're getting angry, you're hyperventilating, da, 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 Not only that, it also impairs your judgment. How does it impair your judgment? Once you get angry, the rational part of the brain is being hijacked by the emotional part of the brain. So the ability to think rationally is hijacked. And once this happens, you make wrong decisions. And that's where you see somebody, because he's angry, jumping out of the bus or out of his jeep to run after an Okada man. I heard a story of a man that an Okada man brushed the car. And because of anger, the guy jumped out of his jeep, was running after the Okada man, and had a heart attack, slumped, and died. So whatever thing the Okada man did on the jeep, is it worth his life? No. So when we get angry, it impairs our cognitive functions. It impairs our ability to make the right decisions. It impairs our ability to concentrate and also our memory. So parents, let's drop the anger. Let's stop getting angry. Let's stop shouting at our children. Let's stop, all those negative things. Let's stop it. Let's learn to manage our emotion. Let's learn to master our emotion. Your ability to master your emotion would go a long way in helping your relationship with your children, goes a long way in helping your relationship with your spouse, goes a long way in your own physical and mental health. Emotional mastery is key for everyone, especially parents who are raising teenagers, because the teenage years is a period where there are a lot of turbulence, a lot of things happening in the life of your children. Your teenager is trying to form his own identity. Your teenager is seeking acceptance from his friends. There is peer pressure, there's peer influence. So if as a parent you are not emotionally stable, you are not emotionally intelligent, you would make some rash decisions that will affect the life of your teenager. And most adults ask them, how did you miss it in life? What was the thing you did? What period of your life did you make a bad decision that affected you when till now that you're an adult? They will tell you it was during their teenage years. So parents, it's important we learn how to master our emotions. So how can we master emotions? I'm going to give 5 tips. Number one, is self mastery. If you're here, you can please type it in the comment section as I'm saying it. Ways to master emotions. You can also type it in comment section. Number one way to master your emotion is self awareness, self mastery, your ability to know yourself. They say, know thyself. If you know yourself, you'll be able to manage your emotion. And what is self-awareness all about? Self-awareness simply is you being aware of your triggers. What are the things that triggers you? What are the things that get you irritated? What are the things that get you excited? What are the things that get you happy, sad? Knowing your trigger is the first step in you learning how to master your emotion. Self-awareness is key. Second step in self in emotional mastery, after knowing your emotion, or knowing your triggers, you should be able to identify the emotions you feel. So, for example, let's go back to that example I gave when I started. I said, imagine you just finished cooking soup. You cooked very one big pot of edikaikon with orishirishi inside, periwinkle, the vegetable, everything, the meat, the palm, everything, the fish, everything is in it, and you left it, you kept it in the kitchen, and you went somewhere, you went out, only for you to get to the kitchen, you're seeing either your child or your house help or somebody putting their hands inside. Hi, Asia. Asia, hi, thank you so much. The person is putting his hand or her hand inside the soup you just used all your energy to cook, and the person is bringing out meat and putting it in the mouth. And I asked, what are the emotions that will come? Some said anger, some said irritability, some said annoyance. So imagine those emotions. Like I said, those emotions are valid, right? But it's what you now do with the emotion that determines if that emotion is empowering or disempowering. So, for example, as a parent, for me, I hate seeing my house disarranged. I hate coming home from work and the house is untidy. So that is a trigger for me. So I've been able to identify that. I know that once I get into the house and I see my house disarranged, thank God my children are older now. Because when they were younger, that was a major trigger for me, right? And me like, so from the door, I'll start shouting, whose trousers is this? Whose shoe is this? Whose skinny cock? Da, 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 da. That was when I didn't even know anything about emotional intelligence and parenting. So that was a trigger for me. So for you, the first step in mastering your emotion is becoming aware of yourself. What are your triggers? What are the things that get you irritated? What are the things that get you happy? What is your stress threshold? As parents, you need to know when you're tired. If you don't know when you're tired, it will affect your relationship, your interaction with your children. Drop it. It will affect your interaction with your children. It will affect your interaction with your spouse. So, first step in emotional mastery is self awareness. Second step is you identifying your emotion, knowing the emotion, accepting the emotion, and regulating. So, what do I mean by self regulation? Self regulation simply means your ability to move from one emotional state to another emotional state, your ability to move from a disempowering emotional state to an empowering emotional state. So, for example, let me give that example of me getting angry, coming home, seeing my house upside down. Instead of me talking to my children, I just walk away. So, part of the things you can do to self-regulate is either you walk away from the trigger, you take deep breath, you count 1 to 10, or you just take yourself out of the place. So that's one way of self-regulation. Please let's type that in the comment section. Second step is self-regulation. Your ability to move from a disempowering emotional state to an empowering emotional state. Self-regulation. Okay. So apart from self-regulation, what else can you do as parents to manage your emotion? So self-regulation is moving from a disempowering state to an emotionally disempowering state to an emotionally empowering state. Taking deep breath, counting 1 to 10, pause, reflect before you react or before you respond. One of the things I tell the young adults I work with, I tell them, just imagine you are in front of a traffic light. There's a stop sign, there's the amber sign, and there's the green light, right? So stop, the red sign is to stop. So before you make any move, before you do anything as a parent, you need to stop. Just stop, pause for a few seconds, take deep breath. So the amber is where you're taking the deep breath, is where you're thinking, what should I do? And I tell parents, before you act, apply act. What is act? Apply consequential thinking. Think about the consequence of what you're about to do. Count 1 to 10. This gives you time to cool down. Another thing you can do as parents is to learn other healthy coping strategies, other things you can do that can reduce stress and improve your mood. What are those other things? Exercise, sleeping well, eating right, and exercising. This is another. So these three, I call them C, as in C, C, C. Sleep, exercise, and eat. It helps you to reduce your stress and also improves your mood. You can also use other relaxation techniques like yoga, um, getting a stress ball. There's this stress ball. If you don't have a stress ball, you can clench your finger and release it, clench your finger, release it, clench your finger, and release it. It helps. Another thing you can do is to look for outlets, creative ways to express the anger. So it's like you go painting. I remember there was a time that I told because my daughter, when she was younger, she was like, Mommy, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. And then no TV and all that. So I told her that go and look for what to do. And guess what? She was able to write a beautiful novel. Not just that, there was a time she was going into painting. So for those that have teenagers who have anger issues or are not able to regulate their emotions, you could use these techniques for them. And what for especially those that have guys, young men, or let them engage in sporting activities. It helps them to regulate their emotion. Let them learn how to play football, let them learn how to play basketball, anything that would allow them to that would be an outlet for them to let out the energy. It's important. Let's do that. It's very important. Let's do that. So, do you have any question before I continue? Do you have any question? Any question? Ignore the situation. Oh, thank you so much, Victor. Ignore the situation. I spoke about I spoke about self-regulation. Self-regulation is you moving from one disempowering emotional state to an empowering emotional state. Very important. We learned that, and I said there are different ways we can do that. Taking deep breath, walking away from the trigger, counting 1 to 10. There's so many things we can do, and as parents, this is where I come in. The next step is getting professional help. I work with parents. I provide parents with tools and resources to manage their emotions. I provide parents with tools and resources to understand and connect with their teenagers. And next month, June 1st, we're starting our 6 weeks coaching program for parents who are raising teenagers, our smart parenting coaching program. It's 6 weeks, it's going for 6 weeks, and the program is a program that every parent needs to register for. The program is actually going for 75,000, but for those of us who are here tonight and you want to register, you have an option of registering at 50,000 between today and 12 noon tomorrow. By Tuesday, it goes back to 75,000. And in the program, there's so many wonderful things you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to not just manage your emotions, you're going to learn how to handle conflict with your teenagers. You're going to learn effective communication skills. I'm going to provide you with tools to set boundaries and foster independence in your teenagers. You're going to get books, you're going to get worksheets, so many things you're going to get. And this 6 weeks is just for parents raising teenagers. In case you're struggling with this teenage years, you're struggling with managing or raising your teenagers effectively, please, you need to register for this 6 weeks program, Smart Parenting Coaching Program. 6 weeks is starting on the 1st of June. It's 75,000, but for those who will register between today and tomorrow, 12 noon, it's going for 50,000 for them. After that, it goes off. The 50K goes off. I'm going to put the account number for those that want to register now. You can do that. But please, parents, we don't need to go into, we don't need to be in that state where emotionally we're having mental issues, mental health issues or having physical health issues because of anger, because we don't know how to manage our emotions. Please, parents, it's very important that we learn how to manage our emotions. So I'm putting down the account details: parenting support system, Access Bank. Um, so for those that want to register, we have it here. Let me put it in the banner too. Okay, so I've put it on the banner. You can see it scrolling down under my name. That's the details. For those that want to register between today and next week, and today and tomorrow, 12 noon, it's going for 50,000. But from after tomorrow, the program is going for 75,000 naira. So let me continue with my session. So parents, so what else? Do you have comments? Do you have questions? Please, if you have questions, go to the comment section, put your questions there. Any question, put it there, please. So other ways you can manage your emotion, your self-care. Self-care is very important for parents. Most times we're taking care of people, we're taking care of our children, we go to the office, we're taking care of our parents, what some of us have siblings living with us, and we do not take care of ourselves. That's not good. Self-care is very important when it comes to emotional mastery, your ability to manage, to take care of yourself. You know, have time to rest, have time to recharge, have time to do things you love to do for yourself. I spoke about sleeping, eating well. I spoke about exercising. Avoid excessive use of substances like alcohol or caffeine. It actually affects our mood. Then another thing we can do, which I spoke about, is getting resources, books, attend workshop, attend coaching session. If you have issues with anger, please, you can speak to me. I have a program for parents on anger management, how to manage your anger. Very, very um, in fact, this program is a shootout from our No Yelling Challenge that I started in 2017. I have this program, No Yelling Challenge, where I work with parents. I've worked with over 500 parents on this No Yelling Challenge, and they good result. So no parent should be on this table of them not being able to manage their emotion, because it's going to affect you. Today, I didn't even speak about the effects on the parent, on the children. Today, I spoke about the effects of anger and yelling on you. So it's important that we learn to take care of ourselves. When you're tired, you need to know your you need to know your stress threshold. When you're tired, please go and rest, go and sleep. Go and do something that makes you happy. Take yourself out to the cinema, take yourself to the beach, go on a stroll in the evening, but just do something that would help you. It's very important you do that. Then finally, set realistic expectations. As parents, I know you want your children to be top flyers, you want your children to come, but understand your child's strengths, understand your child's temperament, understand what your child can do, and set realistic expectations for your children based on their abilities. Let's not, yeah, my friend's child is doing this, so my child too. No, no, no. Know your child's strengths and work with the child God has given to you. Avoid trying to set unrealistic expectations for them, please. So that's it. Finally. So do you have any question? Last time, question. If you have any question, please just go to comment section, put it down. If not, I'll be stopping here in the next 2 minutes. Any question, put it in the comment section. If not, if you want to speak with me, if you want to contact me, let me put my number here. You can speak to me. You can send me messages, and yeah. So that's my number for those that want to. Should I drop my number? Okay. So that's my number for those that want to send a message to me. In case you don't want to send your message here, you don't post your message here, you can send a message to me. If you have a question, I don't want to post it, you can send a message to me. That's my number. We'll get back to you on that. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please, you can share this with your friends. Let them know that yelling and getting angry is not good for them. Our teenagers are scared for us. Like I said when I started, that one of the girls said, each time my mommy is shouting, I'm scared. It's as if she's about to faint. That they make fun of us when we shout at them and all that. The person said, it's as if she's about to faint, as if she's about to. So please, thank you, Victor. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you, Adejoke. Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. Maybe next week we'll be here, probably. I hope I'll be able to come every weekend to have one or two sessions with our parents. But please, for those that want to register for the training, please, for the coaching session, it's 75,000. However, for those that are here between today and 12 noon tomorrow, it's 50,000 naira. Thank you so much. Good night. Bye.